Hi, Luke.
Hi.
Welcome to today's interview. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, to begin, maybe you can just quickly introduce yourself.
So, I'm Luke. I'm in the national team for sport climbing, and I'm 21 this year.
Oh, 21 this year. Okay. So, I've heard that you've been to the Asian Games recently, right?
Yes, I have.
So we'll be exploring basically your sporting pathway throughout your 21 years of life. So, from where you can remember until where you are today. So,
Okay.
we'll start from the very beginning. So, how did it all started for you, Luke?
So, I first tried climbing when I was 8 at a friend's birthday party,
Okay.
but I only started climbing regularly when I was 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for those 2 years, I bugged my parents constantly for me to start taking lessons, and then they finally caved after 2 years.
So, why didn't they allow you to climb in that 2 years? Were there any
So,
reservations?
there weren't much reservations. It was more because I had other extracurriculars.
Oh, okay.
Like as a kid, um, my parents believed that exposing their children to sports was a good thing in general. So I was doing other stuff too.
Okay, tell me more about what these other stuff are.
So it's really like anything from soccer to volleyball to just running around.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this was 8 years old. So
Actually, since even
even
before
before?
that, so
Okay.
when I was like 4, 5, it was we were always a really active family.
Okay.
So I've been doing sports for as long as I can remember. Just it might not be climbing, but just very active in
Very
general.
active in general. Okay, so then you mentioned 8 years old was your first contact with climbing.
Yeah,
Then you bugged your parents for 2 years
yeah,
before they relented.
yeah.
So then was at the age of 10, was it the first time you competed in climbing, or was it just an first exposure with the sport?
Yeah, I would say I did. I did have my first comp when I was 10. It's just that at that age, I started climbing. Like I started taking lessons
Okay.
with this place called the Rock School. They're still around, but they've always done programs with kids. So my parents thought that that would be it's a nice introduction to the sport. So that's how I started. I took lessons with them, and then gradually, yeah.
Okay, so your first climbing competition was with the school.
Yeah, it was organized by the Rock School. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then, at that age, it was also like you starting to get into like primary school and secondary school, right? Can you tell me more about your experience back then in school? How was it like? Do you have climbing back in primary school and secondary school?
There weren't
Okay, let's start with primary school first.
okay. Yeah, there weren't. There wasn't climbing CCA in my school
Okay.
because I was from St. Hilda's, and the big thing there was like volleyball.
Oh, right, and your
Yeah, so
background.
that's why.
Okay.
I did both. But yeah, there was no climbing. But as in primary school, there's not much to do for school.
Okay.
So yeah, you generally have quite a bit of time to explore. So yeah,
So you were just like exploring all the different sports.
yeah, yeah.
What were the sports that you explored in primary school?
So um, my parents both come from track and field backgrounds.
Okay.
So my dad's a pole vaulter and my mom's a long jumper. So there was the obligatory track and stuff,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Understand.
never
I understand.
I never pursued that a lot. Then there's soccer, volleyball, badminton here and there, but just for fun.
Okay.
Wait, I need to preface. All of this wasn't at like a competitive level. It's just like introductory classes where
So it's like attending CCAs.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just really simple classes to get exposed. Um, like I did a bunch of gymnastics, but I wouldn't call it gymnastics because I tried that when I was like really young.
Okay.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of others. Taekwondo,
Okay.
wushu, blah blah blah. Yeah.
So you have a whole bunch of like sporting experience. Then at the age of 10, you got into climbing.
Yeah. And then almost instantly I kind of knew, like, okay, this is what I want to do.
So what made you realize? Like, was it just a, you know?
I don't know. I couldn't explain it if I wanted to, but I could definitely say it was almost instantaneous. That
So it just felt right the moment you.
yeah, it just felt right, and I kind of knew.
Okay. So tell me more about after 10 years old, after you got to know climbing, what went on after that?
So after I first tried it and then I started taking lessons, I basically kept doing it for the coming years, um, up until I needed to decide like what secondary school I was going to go to.
Yep.
At that time, there were, I think, only 3 schools with very prolific climbing teams.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I made my secondary school
Okay.
decision.
So you got into a school that has a climbing team.
Yeah, and at that time, um, I was climbing pretty well. So after getting into the school that I chose, like Uchimsek,
Okay.
I made the team and everything, and yeah, I continued doing it in secondary school.
Okay. So climbing, correct me if I'm wrong, was a relatively new sport at that point in time, right? So how was competition like in the school?
Um, hmm. I wouldn't say it's super new,
Okay.
but within like the universities and stuff, it's been around for quite some time,
Okay.
and just um, the exposure at a young age is very new.
Mm.
So having CCAs in primary schools or secondary schools are quite rare to have climbing CCAs, but the comps that are being run like locally are usually done by the universities. So they actually have clubs, like their climbing clubs have a budget to hold local comps, which is something I don't think happens if you're relatively new, kind of thing.
Okay. So if I'm getting it right,
Yeah.
the university will organize the competition.
Yes.
Then they will have the age group for the younger.
Yes. So okay. So how climbing comps works is you have like under 17, which is like where the kids compete. Then you have novice, inter, and then open. Yeah.
Okay.
So most of the comps in Singapore are run by like the uni climbing clubs. So there's like SMU Gravical, NTU Pumpfest, and a whole bunch of others. So yeah.
Okay. So when you said under 17,
Yeah.
am I right to say at a primary school age or a secondary school age, you're competing with athletes up to the age of 17?
Yeah.
That means like they're all under the same category.
Yes.
There's no further classification.
At least not for the local comps. Yeah.
Okay, you mean like overseas there are?
Overseas, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's just that I'm pretty sure that because there weren't a lot of young climbers,
Okay.
that's why you don't really need to have like
That's
if you differentiate it down to like every single age, then there's just not enough people.
okay. So can you still remember what your first competition was like?
Well, my first competition was when I was 10, so
Okay.
I've always been a very competitive kid.
Okay.
So I cried when I didn't win.
Okay.
I
But
think
what was your position then?
it was like 8th,
Out of?
like 30 or
Okay.
40. But let me preface, I had only been climbing for like 8 months or 10 months.
Okay, that's not a bad result for someone that has climbed for only
Yes.
8 months.
Yes.
So then after that, when you got into secondary school, what was it like having the training in school, being part of the school team, and juggling like schoolwork?
Well, I had very supportive teachers and CCA teachers. So in general, my overall experience wasn't bad. As in, clearly, because you're in a school setting, academics is always the priority.
Mm.
So that's just going to be the natural way things are. But I felt that I had enough support from my parents and my school teachers to be able to continue pursuing climbing while juggling school.
So you mentioned that you received support from both your parents and your teachers.
Yeah.
So let's explore that. How did your teachers supported you back then?
Well,
I mean, you said education is always first with
Yes.
teachers. So what did they do differently for you?
as in, they just gave me sometimes like if like they knew like there were a bunch of comps, they would be like, you have an extra day to do this assignment and stuff like that. But yeah, it was rare. But yeah.
So it was rare, but the off moments that it happened.
No, the fact is that they did do it, which
Okay.
is, I think it counts for something. Yeah.
Okay. So your very first competition was at 10.
Yeah.
Then in secondary school,
Oh, I kept competing all the way.
all the way. So that
Yeah.
means back in primary school, you also were competing under your club.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, what was it like for you then? We'll look at primary school first because that was when you first started.
yeah. Okay,
What was
sure.
it? What was it like for you when you had to train as a climber outside of school and then like managing everything else? Because I'm sure there's still the CCA that you have to attend in school,
Oh yeah.
and then there's climbing.
So at 10,
Okay.
I was still doing I was still in volleyball for my primary school CCA.
Okay.
So I was still doing that together with climbing. Then when I was in P5, which was 11, I kind of was like, I want to quit volleyball, but the CCA teacher wouldn't let me.
Okay.
So only until primary 6, when I won national schools, then he was like, you can quit. Yeah.
So you have done what you need to do for us. You got to have the medal, then you can go for the climbing.
I won for climbing, not volleyball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then that's when your teacher recognized that
Yeah.
you need to focus on climbing.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. So
Okay.
It was.
So in a way, he's quite supportive when
Yeah.
he saw
Yeah.
that you had. Okay, that's good. So going into secondary school, what was a day like for you
Oof.
now that climbing is an official CCA?
So back in secondary school, we had training 3 times a week, which is considered quite a bit for a school CCA. I would think so. But some other CCAs in my school, like water polo, they train like every day, which I thought was ridiculous. But yeah, 3 days.
Okay.
It's not the most, but definitely not like once a week. So it was Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays.
Okay.
So
Okay, so on the days that you have training, what does it look like?
yeah, a CCA
What time
day,
do you get up? What time does
It
lesson end?
it would be like I wake up at 6:30. I get to school by 7:30. I go to classes, and then we'll have recess and more classes, and then lunch was at like 1:30 or 2, and then CCA would start at like 2:30. Yeah, and then from 2:30 to 5 or 6, we would train.
So do you all train in school or
Yeah, we train in school.
so you guys have a
Yeah,
Wall.
Uchum was pretty supportive for climbing. So we had our own speed wall, boulder wall, lead
Wow,
wall.
okay.
So it's a lot.
so the climbing facility at Outram, your secondary
Yeah,
school.
I'd say it was pretty good for that time. It's really good, especially for like considering you're in a secondary school. Yeah.
Okay. Then how was studies like for you back then?
Well, I was never like an A student, but I wouldn't be failing. But yeah, studies was, I wouldn't say I was the best student. Yeah. But I was still responsible. My mom made sure that I was still responsible.
Okay.
So yeah.
So sounds like your mom is kind of exerting some kind of pressure at least on your studies to be at least decent.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say so. Like an occasional A, straight Bs, that kind of stuff.
How did she exert that pressure?
My mom, before she became a housewife, my mom was a maths teacher.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, she knows how the schools work and everything. So just a lot of like
So am I right to say your occasional A is in math?
sometimes, yeah.
Okay. So then how did your dad play a part in all this as well?
So I guess because my dad had to work, it's not really he couldn't be around as much like as my mom. But during the weekends and stuff, we're a very active family. So we would still do like stuff together. So after I got into climbing, they would take me climbing on the weekends.
Oh, so would they climb with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's the better climber, your mom or your dad?
I would say my mom.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would say my mom. Yeah. My dad's a bit bulky.
Okay.
Because like he does like he likes to keep fit, but he's pretty wide. Yeah.
Okay. So then when was your first so as you progress up, right?
Yeah.
Then the next major thing that comes into view is in terms of education would be O levels. How do you manage that?
Well, I basically discussed with my mom like where I wanted to go. So if I was aiming for poly and not JC, then my approach could be different. So basically, I wanted to climb more, so I decided to go for poly. And for poly, you don't need that many subjects. So I kind of chose like, okay, if I don't need, it's like what, six subjects for JC? L1, R5, yeah, six subjects for JC.
You're right.
So I basically chose L1, R4, 5 subjects. So it would complete the L1, R4 thing. And yeah, I just worked on those.
So this was in Sec 3
Sec
when you
3,
selected?
Sec 4. Yeah, I kind of knew. But this was too late to actually, when I made this decision, I had already gotten streamed into like a class where I'm taking like 7 subjects or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I made the mature decision of neglecting two subjects. Yeah.
What are the subjects that you neglected?
AMATs
Okay.
and chemistry.
Math.
Yes.
Did your mom get upset at that?
She said she didn't get upset, but she was under the opinion that AMATs would be an easier subject to study for.
Okay.
But in my opinion, my AMATs was pretty good. So I didn't really need to. I felt that if I did choose AMATs, it would require more work than some other subjects that I was better at. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what went through your mind, because at Sec 3, that was 15.
Yeah.
So at the age of 15, you already kind of knew that you wanted to climb more.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to get into poly so that you can climb more.
Yeah.
So how do you come to that decision, and then what happened? Because you said you got streamed into a class that had to take more subjects.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to take for the subjects thing. I wanted to take pure physics
Mm.
and pure chem.
Okay.
So there were like combined classes, but because I really wanted pure physics and pure chem, then I decided to go for the class that required more. But in hindsight, because I did not like chemistry in the end, because of organic chemistry, I hated that.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's why I didn't. It's one of the ones that I neglected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, after that, what made you realize like climbing? I want to
Climbing's the thing I
pursue
want to do.
it
Yeah.
at the age of 15. When like at the age of 15, if it was me, I was still playing with my friends.
Well, I first my first taste of international competition
Okay.
was when I was 13.
Oh, what
So-
competition was this?
It was an Asian youth. I came fourth,
Okay.
and that was when I knew I didn't want to lose
so,
again.
so this was even way before 15. This was at 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So tell me about that competition.
Well,
What happened that you got?
it's like my first international competition,
Mhm.
so I had no idea what to expect. But when I was there, and then I did what I needed to do, then I was forced, and I was like, "Damn, I'm pretty close to like the podium."
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So, in my head, I was like, "It's not. If it's not that far off, then this is something I can do." Yeah. So that's
Okay. So
kinda
to
how-
you, getting a gold medal seemed within reach because you were already
Yeah, it was. I would say it was realistic. Like it's going to be hard, but it was realistic.
okay. So since the age of 13, you knew
Yeah.
that you
Like-
wanted to pursue because of that competition.
Yeah.
Okay. Then subsequently, do you go for any other competition?
Yeah, there was so many like scattered throughout. So every year there would be like an Asian youth and a world youth.
Oh, okay.
So that's just for the youth circuit. So I would be doing those.
So you
and
consistently go for the Asian
youth and
the
world
world
youth.
youth.
And the local comps in Singapore. But I quickly like
That sounds like a lot.
actually no, it was like maybe 6 competitions a year.
6 competitions a year. How would it?
Oh wait, maybe like 7 or 8 competitions a year because there was still like the national schools.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but that wasn't like those weren't as hard as the Asian youth and world youth stuff.
Okay, so you've been consistently going for all these different competitions. How was your schedule like? Because if I'm not wrong, a normal secondary school student who's doing sports usually have like maybe the national school games.
Yeah.
And then if let's say they're better, they have an outside club. That's like probably 2 competitions a year, but you're handling 6 to 8 competitions. How was your schedule like?
Well, I wouldn't say it was super busy, but this 24 hours is a lot of time.
Okay.
So you set aside 8 for sleeping, or like okay, let's say 10 for sleeping.
Okay,
You
so
still
am I
have
right to
14
say you have
hours.
been sleeping 10 hours a day consistently back in secondary school?
8 or 9. Yeah. Oh yeah, continuing. So 14 hours is a lot. There would be training, which would be like 4. So I'm left with 10. Out of the 10, 8 would be in school. So if you did all your homework in school, your 2 hours you can still use to rest or do whatever you want. That's how I survived. I did my homework in school. Yes.
So that means, from what I'm hearing, is you're planning your schedule really well. It's packed to the second kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. My mom always said you can do anything you set your mind to. Wait, actually, this is a funny story.
Okay.
I'll tell it. So, she's always said this since I was a kid.
Okay.
So, tiny kindergarten Luke internalized this,
Ah.
and one day at the playground on the monkey bars during like kindergarten, I was basically like hanging upside down and doing something.
Okay.
And then the teacher came up to me and said, like, no, you can't do this. It's dangerous. And then I said, but my mom told me I can do anything. Yeah.
Okay.
So my teacher told my mom what I said. And then my mom had this whole thing where she had to explain, like, oh, I said, you can put anything you can do anything you put your mind to. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you internalize it, and that has been stuck with you ever since.
Yep. As
Okay.
in, I'm not saying it's easy, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that funny story about your mom.
Yes.
So that stuck with you, that mindset of if you said something that you want to do, then you can do it, right?
Yes.
Then
Yes.
what happened after that?
What do you mean?
Like after at 13, you decided that I'm climbing, I don't want to
Oh.
lose again. What happened after that? Because it sounds like you have a lot of competition ongoing,
Yeah. So just comms training, stuff like that.
comms training, and
Yeah.
studies
Yeah. Occasionally.
occasionally. So that
Yeah.
means, am I right to say that your studies, you have been doing decently well? You grasp the concept quite easily.
I've been doing well enough.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, I'm not an A student,
Okay.
but I'm a strong B.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you've been going for like all this competition. Then when was the first setting when you got into like the national setup?
Well, I got in the national youth team when I was 13.
Oh, so at the competition.
No, it's like prior. So to go for Asian youth, I had to get into the national youth team.
Okay.
And at that point in time, because I was 13, there was no category in this national
okay.
national selection to
So you were the
get there.
youngest.
So I was the youngest guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sound very proud of it. Is that
Yeah,
an achievement
as in-
for you?
I was going against like 14, 15-year-olds, they're huge, and I was a tiny kid. So yeah.
Okay. We need to see pictures of you when you were tiny.
Okay. But
Okay.
yeah, like
So tell me, how do you feel when you know that you got into the national squad?
well, I felt pretty good, but as a kid, you don't really like think about this kind of stuff.
Oh,
You're
okay.
kind of just like, okay.
Okay. So that was that very first Asian youth
Yeah.
climbing competition that you went for.
Yeah.
That was the very first time you donned the Singapore like jersey
Yeah.
climb.
Yeah.
Didn't feel anything.
It was nice, but like
You were just focused on like having fun at climbing,
I was focused on winning.
winning. Okay.
Yeah.
So then when you got the fourth and you didn't want to lose,
Yeah.
what did you do after that?
I just went back to climb.
Like you just kept on
Yeah.
working hard?
Yeah.
So what was it like for you when you were doing all this?
Well, I think I was too young to actually. When you're a youth athlete, everything is very black and white.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Like, or at least for me, I thought that to get better, I just needed to climb. So I would just climb more. Well, but at that age, it does work. But as you get older, you kind of realize like there's a lot more to it. It's not as simple as, oh, just get stronger. There's so many things to it. I think for every sport, there's just
Oh, what do you mean by that? You mean like techniques or?
yeah. there's like the technical side of it. There's your physical capability. There's also your mental side. There's also like the recovery and everything. So as a kid, when you don't know as much, you kind of just take it like, oh, if I train more, then I will automatically get better.
Oh,
But
so
sometimes
like
it's not.
quantity
Yeah,
over
yeah.
quality.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
just quantity in general is quantity is good. So more.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's it's something that if you don't know, it's easy to fall into. Yeah. That's what I think.
So when do you realize that quality also matters?
I had a pretty good coach for secondary school. His name's Jan. But like a lot of the climbers that come out of Outram, they go to like they get into the national team and stuff. So 13, 14, I kind of didn't really listen because I was like, I'm a kid, I know everything.
Right.
Yeah. But I got really burnt out when I was 14 and I didn't want to climb anymore.
Oh, what happened?
Like I was just really tired.
Because you were consistently climbing every day?
Yeah, and I felt like I wasn't improving. Yeah. So that was hard to figure out. Yeah. There's a lot of, I think for every sport, it would have like its own misconceptions and stuff. So as a youth athlete, it's good to like get your information. Yeah. Oh, it's important.
So what got you through that?
I don't know actually. I think my view kind of changed on climbing itself.
How so?
I started enjoying it more. Yeah. Because climbing is like there's a science behind it.
Okay.
When you finish a climb, it like releases endorphins and something, blah 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 blah. But yeah, that's why like when people try climbing, they get addicted to it really fast. So I kind of just I didn't think so much. I just climbed.
So you're kind of chasing that feeling.
I wouldn't say chasing it, but I feel like just because I stuck to it,
Okay.
it helped me kind of like reset. Yeah.
Okay. So then after that you realize that you need to listen to your coach more?
Yeah.
And then you started
Yeah.
seeing improvements in...
Yeah.
Okay. So then after that, there will be O-levels. How was O-levels like for you?
I stopped climbing for 6 months.
How did that feel? Because climbing was every day
terrible.
for you. Okay.
That was terrible. I hated it. I don't suggest anyone do it.
To stop climbing for 6 months?
I think if you're like a student athlete, it's okay to keep doing your sport.
Okay.
Like if you have to cut back. But if it's such an integral part of your life, like going cold turkey is really hard. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you cope with that?
Well, I did not enjoy the O-level period.
Okay.
At all. So I wouldn't say I coped with it well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you knew you had to study, so you just...
Yeah, but looking back, I feel like the amount of pressure that's being put on 16-year-olds is a bit much. Yeah. I think it's ridiculous that you expect a 16-year-old to mug for like 16 hours a day for one national exam that they say it decides your entire life, but in reality, I don't think it does. Yeah.
So then, how do you do for O-levels? And then did you get to the poly that you wanted to go?
Yeah. So I did decently well.
Okay.
I think I got like a L1 R4 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. But not like fantastic. I wasn't like a 5-pointer. But
Okay.
for the amount of work that I put in, I would say I'm okay with it.
Okay. So then you managed to realize, your goal of going into a poly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you went to next?
So I wanted to do something with design.
Okay.
So I applied to Singapore Poly, Ngee and Nanyang. And then I got into Ngee, which is my second choice, to do sustainable urban design and engineering, it has two specializations. One of it is sustainable urban design architecture, and then there's structural engineering. So I'm in architecture. Yeah.
Okay. But do you study both or like?
For your first year, you kind of get introduced to both.
Oh, okay.
But on your second year, you choose, and then, yeah.
So why do you go into architecture
Because I didn't want to do math.
or the other one involves math? Okay.
Anything to do with engineering is a lot of math. Yeah.
So what do you do in architecture then? Sustainable urban design.
It's just a fancy name for architecture, but
Okay.
you just design spaces and stuff. Yeah. I'm actually doing an internship at NYSI about it right
Yes.
now. So yeah.
Okay. So what have you like learned from your internship? Or even from like the course itself?
Well, I think the main thing I really learned was time management.
Hmm.
I think that's like, it's so important to know how to balance your time. Because if you do it well, you can do so much more, like in a day. So one example is earlier this year, there was this, the World Champs was right smack in the middle of my term. So to me, it was like, I'm going for this competition. Like, I'm going for the competition.
Right.
So, but I still had school responsibilities. So I still had to study and like do assignments and stuff. So what I did was I finished my whole project before I left.
Was that normal or was it?
It's normal for me,
Okay.
but the amount of time I had to finish it was not normal.
Okay. How long did you take?
So everyone else had about a month for like production. I pushed everything into 2 weeks.
Okay.
So half the time. Yeah. So I'm really proud about that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did well for the project.
Okay.
So it's
That's
even
great.
better. Yeah.
So then you went for the competition.
Yeah, and during the comp I didn't need to do anything because I already finished it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No worries about
Yeah, no worries or
schoolwork, and then
anything.
you just can whack as
Yeah.
hard as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So now, this internship, is it part of your
Yeah, it's part of
poly?
my school.
Okay, so it's like coursework.
Uh,
It gives you some kind of credits.
It's like a compulsory thing that
Oh, okay.
you have to do for the course. So
Okay.
it's like attachment.
So how are you assessed for this?
So there's two sides to it. There's the company side, and then the school side. So Bernard, which is my intern supervisor, will give me like a grade, and then my school will give me a grade based on the reports that I'm doing and stuff.
Also, you have to do some reports.
Yeah.
So what does the reports entail?
It's like they give us this like what do you call it? They give us like an example.
Case study?
Not case. I wouldn't say case study. It's like a framework that you just fill in.
Oh.
No. There's a word for it. I just can't remember. It's basically a sheet that we need to fill in every 2 weeks. So
Is it like some kind of journal entry?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. So reflections on.
Yeah. Okay, reflection.
Okay.
So every 2 weeks, and then we have an interim report and a final report. So those reports, it's like we have to compile everything that we've done in our internship and basically write a report about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when will this end for you?
24th November.
Oh, that's pretty soon.
Yeah,
actually.
it's only 3 months, so
Oh.
it's really fast.
So then what happens after that?
I will have to go back to school for another semester and then I'm done. I
Oh.
graduate.
Okay. Then, so that's in the future. So let's look at like that whole journey right now.
Yeah.
Climbing, usually as an athlete, how you get into the sport as you progress up, there should be like a role model for you. Were there anybody like that for you in your sport?
I guess the people around me helped drive me. Like, I would say like the competitors I've met at like Asian Youth and World Youth, because it's the same age group all the time, and like you kind of get to know the guys. So yeah, just having those like yearly interactions where you have to pit yourself against each other, that was very motivating to like see where you stand every year.
Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, you also moved from youth to senior in the
Yes.
climbing team. So how was that like for you?
So I got in the senior team when I was like 16 or 17. It's youth all the way up to like 19.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, like you're in the youth squad until 19.
Oh, so you got in earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started going for like Asia Cups and stuff like that pretty early on. Yep.
So what was that like for you? Sounded like a pretty big achievement for you.
The transition is pretty hard
Okay, what do you mean by that?
because in youth the number of competitors is just less. The level of competition is also not as high as opens. So yeah, it was like a huge slap in the face.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my first Asia Cup I did pretty bad. I came in like 24th or something.
Out of?
I think 40, 45, 50, I don't know. Something like that.
Okay.
My second one I did pretty well.
Okay.
I got into finals.
When was this? 16,
16,
17,
something like that. My second one I did pretty well. I got into finals. So top 6.
Okay. Tell me about that. How do you go from being like 20?
I think I was just lucky, honestly, for that
Okay.
one.
But why do you say that?
Because there were really strong guys that didn't go for that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I felt like in that case, I was lucky.
Okay. So going for that second competition, knowing that like some of the strong guys weren't competing, what was your mindset entering that competition?
Well, I don't think the mindset really changes from comp to comp. As in, whether or not they're strong guys or not. Like, the reason why you compete is to win or to do well. So just because the strong guys aren't there doesn't mean, or just because the strong guys are there doesn't mean you stop wanting to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So from what I've been hearing, winning seems to be like a key motivator for you.
Yeah, it's I've been told that it's not. I've been told that it's not everything, but is a huge motivator for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that motivates you, or is it just
I feel like I just want to get better in climbing.
okay?
Yeah.
So
Like I want to be able to do like crazy stuff on the wall, like where people will be like, yeah,
okay, so it's about bettering yourself.
yeah.
Then maybe winning is like a part of that process.
As in, I know that if I better myself, the chances of winning is going to be higher.
Okay.
But I would say both of them are equally as important to me.
Okay.
If I do want to make climbing a career, then winning is part and parcel of it.
Hmm.
Like as an athlete, you're only celebrated when you win. So
Hmm.
yeah, it is the hard truth.
So if you look back to your transition from youth to senior,
Yeah.
what were some of the biggest challenges? Anything in particular that you wanna?
I think just the level of competition. Because when you're a youth athlete, you're still kind of protected in a sense.
Okay.
Like you're competing against people your age. So
Were there any particular like instances when you felt that?
not I wouldn't say particular instances, but just experiencing such a high level of competition was definitely like a whoa. Like this is not what I'm used to. So the sudden change can definitely like shake someone. Because if you've been doing youth comms for like 5 years and then suddenly you do like a senior level comp, the level of competition is just like, even if it's not a huge jump, it's still a jump up.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So at the youth stage, at the youth level, not knowing about, do you know about the senior level? Like, what were your perceptions about it?
Yeah, like because there are strong guys in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like Dennis and Gavin.
Hmm.
And like you see them around, you see them at local comps. Like you kinda yeah, I guess you base your perceptions on who's winning at the time. So if they're winning local comps, you see them around, and for me, like I think winning is pretty important. So yeah,
So, do you look up to them, or you
yeah,
just
I guess you can say that.
okay?
Yeah,
Or do you like see them as a competitor?
I saw this as a competitor. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I would be like, they're there now, but I'm gonna beat them one day.
Okay. So, were there any like parts of the transition that was easy for you as well?
I I genuinely liked that. I liked the challenge
Hmm.
and knowing that there's a lot more to it. It
What do you
kind
mean
of
by there's a lot more to it?
like there's so much more you need to learn, or like there's so
Ah,
much more to learn.
okay.
Then I guess it's a never-ending cycle. Have you seen the graph? Like the graph of confidence and knowledge?
Okay.
Like okay, wait, I'll look into this camera. So,
Okay.
so it's like so you have your axis here, right?
Yeah.
And then this is your confidence. This is knowledge over time.
Okay.
How do you draw this out?
So it should be like in this.
No. So it's like it shoots out really fast at first, but over time you realize like the more you know, the less you know. And
Oh.
then like after you know a lot, then
Okay.
it starts going back up.
So it goes like this.
Yeah.
So which part of you are you at now? Which part of the graph are you at now?
I thought I was like.
Okay, how about we map it out? We map it out. Where were you at like the different stages in your life?
I feel like we need to draw it out. This is a bit hard.
Okay.
Well, do you have a piece of paper?
You can just say it like at 13 years, at 10.
Okay. No, but like I don't know how to describe the stages.
The highs and lows.
There's two highs. So
Yeah.
when you're a beginner, like your confidence is very high because you're learning so much.
Right.
But as you learn, you start to realize like, oh shit, there's stuff that I don't know about.
Mm.
There's actually a lot of stuff that I don't know about. Then your confidence starts dropping again.
Okay. So am
And
I
then-
right to say at the age of 10 that was the high for you until around
No, I guess for everyone, you can hit the thing and then start going back down.
Okay. So where are you at now?
I would like to think I'm still on my way down.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So what does going back up look like?
Maybe in like 2-3 years. Yeah.
And then what happens?
World champion? No. Maybe like World Cup finals, stuff like that. Asia Games podium. Yeah. That's what I'd like to see.
Okay. So then you also mentioned just now that you wanted to do climbing as a career.
Yeah.
So how does that look like?
Well, I get some money from it now, but not enough to like live in Singapore. Well, Singapore is the most expensive city in the world, so that's always nice. But yeah, like I'm fortunate enough to have sponsors that are willing to support me like a lot.
Okay.
So
How did you get these sponsors?
that's a long story. I guess we have time.
Yeah, we have time.
So in climbing, when you do well, or like you're prolific in the scene, you get the attention of like climbing gyms or like climbing brands. Not really climbing brands, more of climbing gyms.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't say brands because like brands don't have the big brands don't really have a presence here. Like when you see Nike SG or Adidas SG, that isn't like Nike. That's a distributor that has bought the rights for selling Nike stuff. So as a distributor, the incentive to sponsor an athlete is not very, very high.
Okay.
Because their vision and the company's vision might not be the same. Yeah. But for climbing gyms, because they want to grow the sport,
Okay.
they're willing to fork out money or equipment or whole bunch of stuff.
You did well, and some of the gyms.
Yeah. It's like a natural thing, but you have to carry yourself well and everything. Yeah.
So there's like a contract to it.
Oh yeah. Like most sponsorships are based on contracts. Yeah.
Okay. Were there any like goals or like stuff that you have to hit?
I am very lucky
Okay.
because I don't have those kinds of goals
Okay.
like in the contract.
Okay.
But I've been doing well enough for me. I like to think I've been doing well enough to hopefully renew contracts. Yeah.
thank you for sharing about like all the contract details.
Yes.
So now what I'm really curious is, how does climbing look like for a career?
Well, it's not like soccer where you have like different clubs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think mainly to make it a career, you would need sponsorships from brands, gyms, stuff like that. Yeah. That's just to be like a full-time athlete. But if we're talking like semi-pro, then you could supplement the income with like coaching, stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you meant what you meant by having it as a career is like coaching as well.
No, I would be like full-time
You want to be
paid,
full time.
just training, relax, train. Yeah.
Okay. So is there any part in the future where you can see yourself being a coach as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. As in, come on, all athletes know the athletic lifespan is not very long.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't mind doing coaching, but not like at the beginner level.
Sorry again.
Not at the beginner level,
Okay. So you want to coach?
like high performance or
Okay.
higher performance.
Okay. Okay. So now looking back at everything that we've discussed.
Yeah.
What was it like, being a student athlete at the different stages in your education level? So from primary school, what was it like in primary school? What was it like in secondary school? And then what is it like now being in poly?
I think it's probably the most difficult in secondary school
Okay.
because of the amount of time commitment that you need for school. In poly, it's okay. I guess my benchmark for poly isn't very good
What do you mean?
because I extended my poly to 5 years instead of 3, so I take less modules each semester.
How do you do that?
Just ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? Who do you ask? How?
So, like, you know how NYSI has like athlete life?
Yeah.
Schools have student life.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say those are the people to approach.
So what do? You went to student life office.
Yeah. And I told them like, oh, as an athlete, I'm competing a lot, and I don't think I can juggle and stuff like that. And then, yeah, they allowed me to extend it to 5 years. I have to say, like, the support from Nian is really a lot. Yeah.
So is that why, for normal person that's going through the normal poly route, is like much more packed, but for you,
It's not as bad.
okay. So secondary school
So
life.
that's probably why I say secondary school
Right.
is the hardest.
Okay. So which part do you enjoy the most
I would say now,
now?
yeah.
How come?
Because now I compete like, 20 times a year or something like that.
Oh,
Like
20 times a
15,
year.
yeah.
So you travel a lot.
Yeah,
What
I
were
do.
what were some of the most exotic places that you've been to?
Russia.
Why Russia?
Because
Furthest.
like it's such a rare opportunity that you go to Russia.
Okay.
Like you need a visa for it, and we're from Singapore, so you need a visa for anywhere. Yeah,
So what competition was that?
that was for World Youth.
This was
This was
When
back
you were-
in 2019.
back when COVID
Yeah,
just hit or before it?
before
Before.
COVID.
Okay. So
Oh wait, no, sorry.
okay.
It was in 2021,
So right after COVID.
right after COVID. Yeah, I had to quarantine
Okay.
for 14 days in a room.
In Russia or
No,
when you
coming
came
back here.
Okay. So how did that competition went?
It was pretty good. I made semis. I was pretty close to finals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did that push you further after that?
Yes. The answer is always yes.
Every competition pushes you to go further.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, looking at all these years, what would you describe your identity as a student athlete?
Well, I guess now I see myself more of an athlete than a student because I do devote more time to it
Oh, okay.
than
So the student part is not.
no, like don't get me wrong. I still see myself as a student,
Hmm.
but if I were to compare the amount of time I put into climbing and the amount of time I put into school, I would say I see myself more of an athlete.
Okay. Did anything change from like youth to senior level, or
As in, as a youth, I would see myself more of a student than an athlete.
what do you say that?
Um, because more time would be spent on school.
More time spent on school,
Yeah.
studying,
Yeah.
and that's why. Okay. So now at the senior level, more on the sport.
Yeah. Because now I guess it's a bit different. Like I'm seeing success in it, and I genuinely think I can make a career out of it. So, if this is the case, then
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from all that you have shared, it sounds like you have a very packed schedule throughout the day, throughout the year.
yes,
So what does your social life look like?
it's pretty bad. I think I've only
Would you wanna?
I think I've only gone out like once this month,
Okay.
and that's just to like have a meal with friends. And it was on a rest day. Okay, because like I'm interning now. It's not as bad because my weekends are free. I don't have to do like homework during my weekends. But if I was to say like school term, my rest days would be like I would start schoolwork at like 12, stop it at like 8. So it would be like 8 hours of just doing schoolwork. And then, yeah.
So how was it like balancing all those without
I-
social life?
Climbing, there's a social aspect to climbing.
Okay.
So I guess it doesn't hit me as hard. But I can definitely understand why other people might struggle with it. Yeah, but I'm just lucky that my sport has a pretty big social aspect to it.
Okay. So then you don't really see, like only going out for 1 month, one time in the past month as like a huge issue because you have a community in climbing.
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. So how's the community like?
Friendly. Yeah. Mm, I guess in general, climbers everywhere they're just chill. Like, there is a stigma around new climbers because
What is this stigma?
like it's not because they're going out of their way to like inconvenience people, but new climbers in general have a stigma because they're inexperienced. They tend to like do dangerous stuff or like hog the walls, stuff like that. But it's not because they're being malicious and they want to.
They're just trying things out.
Yeah, as in if they don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just be careful if it's your first time climbing.
Okay. So then throughout like your entire career as a student athlete, as an athlete, as a climber, were there any instances where you went through like something bad, like perhaps an injury,
Yeah,
big injury?
I guess it's part and parcel of being an athlete. Injury is always something that you can be pretty scared about. I think the only major injury that I've struggled with, that I've actually had to take time off climbing, like a
Oh.
significant amount.
Okay. Longer than the 6 months that you
No,
had?
no, no, not as long as that. but like I would say significant because it's like during O levels I technically could still climb because my body is okay.
Okay.
Just that I chose not to.
Yep.
But when you're injured, you can't choose. It's kind of like you're forced to rest.
Right.
And that part sucks.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it was in 2019. I tore my anterior ligament in my ankle. Yeah. So that was pretty bad.
So-
I didn't need surgery,
Okay.
which was good. But it was, I think I was out for like a month or two.
How do you feel then?
Pretty bad. Yeah. As in, I use the word bad. Like, I know it's super broad, but
Yeah.
it
Okay.
encompasses everything.
Yeah, it's a good descriptive word for like
Yeah.
the entire
It
situation.
just sucks.
Okay.
It just sucked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how did you cope with it?
Well, I guess having a good, like, support network is important. So for me, that would be my parents and my friends.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So how did they come into play during then?
I guess just being there is nice because suddenly you're left with so much time, and then because you can't train, it's suddenly like, what do I do? This is like the only thing I've done for like the past 10 years. What do I do now? So yeah. But just know that it's only temporary. So you can get back to what you want to do very soon.
Okay, so having a support network help.
Yeah. Having a good support
Then-
system.
On your own, do you do anything to help you manage?
Me personally, I like to listen to music.
Okay.
So I felt like that also kind of helped.
So music helps you like feel better about the injury, or
No, like,
like it just takes your mind off.
yeah. I guess more of that then.
Okay.
It doesn't make you feel better about the
Okay,
injury.
it takes your mind off the injury so that you can focus on something else.
Yeah.
So like schoolwork, for example.
Yeah. I guess you can say that. But in 2019, when I did injure it, it was in between it was that period before you go into poly. So
Oh,
you finish O levels,
okay.
but you haven't gone into poly.
Ah,
That's why I was so free.
so with
So-
the injury you had,
I didn't have schoolwork. That's why.
right?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then, how was that like? You know, now that other than music, you had nothing else that you could do.
Just go out with friends, chill. Just
Ah.
know that there's a life outside of just training.
Ah,
I feel like reminding yourself that occasionally is definitely important.
Hmm.
Yeah. The world is big. There's more to it than just your sport.
mm.
Yeah.
So maybe, you mentioned just now that you had like you had a coach in secondary school that was quite good
Oh yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Maybe can you share with us about how your coach influenced you as an athlete, either from secondary school or even like now?
I guess the job of a coach is to mentor and guide.
Mm.
So I would say how you view the sport is definitely heavily influenced by your coach. And I think that for me, because I was always a very results driven person,
Mm.
it helped. They helped me balance it out to know that the process is also important.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Then maybe now like we have let's get some like info for like the athletes out there, with your vast experience with competition.
Yeah.
So how do you like cope with like the mental pressure during competition?
That's a toughie. That is a toughie. I guess everyone will have their own methods.
Mm.
For me, I just listen to music to like drown out the noise.
Mm.
But I know some people that have to have the pressure to do well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it really depends on how you view pressure and how your body like handles it.
Okay. So I'm hearing music again.
Yes.
Any go-to songs that you
Mm, No, I'd like to keep that private.
like to keep it?
I'd like to keep it private.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't let the secret out. If not, then everyone will be strong.
Everyone will be using the same music and
Yeah. Then everyone will be strong.
right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So then do you have any self-care routines? So, I know you're packed with your schedule, but when you have like maybe some me time,
I usually just stretch.
stretch.
Yeah. Or play like some video games.
Okay. When you say stretch, you mean like foam rolling and all those
Yeah.
Okay.
Like stretch, like
proper stretching.
yeah, for the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe go for like sports massage, stuff like that.
Just to release the different knots and stuff.
Yeah, it's important.
Then, okay, what do you think is the importance of mental health in student athletes?
I think it's probably the most important thing, more than like studies and your sporting
Okay.
achievements.
How so?
As in, I feel like student athletes kind of abuse it because they're student athletes. Like, as an athlete, you kind of just, you're taught to like try hard and stuff. So I guess it's common for us to just tough it out. But I think there comes a point in time where you kind of have to accept that if you need a break, you need a break. Yeah.
And that's where the self-care routine comes in.
Yeah, that or just take a break from training for like a week or two. It's not going to set you back a lot. If anything, it's going to help you a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then were there any like life skills that you have like taken away from like doing your sport?
Time management.
Hmm.
Yeah. I guess that's the only thing I can think about. Or if I'm stranded at the bottom of a canyon, I could probably climb out.
Okay. That's a very important life skill.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. So then now we'll just like project forward a little bit. What does like the next what is the next upcoming thing for you?
I have Olympic qualifiers in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Where is
Yes.
that?
It's in Indonesia. It's like continental qualifiers. Yeah.
All the best with that.
Thank you. It's
Then-
gonna be hard.
After that,
After that, I'll probably take a break for like 2 weeks before I start training for the next season. But I will probably have a training trip to Slovenia in December. And after the training trip, I'll probably take a week to rest and then continue training after that.
Okay. What about education wise?
Well, I graduate next year in March.
Mm.
Today is 26
Sorry?
October. What day is it?
30th
Yeah, okay. Then I'm in my last semester.
last semester.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what's after that for you? Is it
I have to go to NS. I haven't gone to NS yet.
right, NS.
Yeah, but
Okay, so what's after NS then?
well, after I get out of NS, it would be 25, like 2025.
Okay.
So there's SEA Games,
Hmm.
and then Nagoya in 26, and then LA in 28.
Okay.
So that's the
That's
roadmap.
the climbing part.
Yeah.
Any plans for education or
I might. Well, I do want to go to uni, but I have to see like. Okay, so the plan is, if I get out of army, and I've been able to train during my time in NS, and I feel ready for like, just purely competing, I'll take a year or two to just compete.
okay?
And then do uni after. If I feel like I'm not ready for that, then I'll do uni while I train up and then compete whenever I'm ready, whether or not uni has ended or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where you want to go, or is it still?
Well, locally would be nice, but going overseas would also open options to train overseas because I'm based there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision. As in, you see so many national athletes study overseas purely because there are better opportunities for training and stuff. So I'm definitely not. I'm not going to shy away from it.
Okay.
It's under consideration, but if I can get a scholarship in Singapore or a uni that would let me train overseas occasionally and compete, then that would be the best case scenario. I would still like to be based here because
You still like to be?
yeah,
Okay.
it's difficult living alone overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when nearing the end of the interview, do you have any words of advice that you want to give to the student athletes out there?
Stay in school.
Okay.
Yeah, stay in school.
What do you mean by that?
As in, don't quit school. Just, I think getting an education is still important because there's a life outside of your sport. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Come to the end.
Yes.
Okay.